guys. Good afternoon. By show of hands, who here knows what an essential oil is? Yay! So what I hope to leave you with though today is a new perspective on what an essential oil is and the many benefits aromatherapy has to offer. To start with, I'm going to go over what an essential oil is and how it's made. I'll then touch upon how essential oils work and how to use them safely. And then I want to finish with discussing the many ways to implement essential oils and aromatherapy into your everyday life. So the term essential oil is actually a contraction for quintessential oil. It stems from the Aristotelian idea that matter is composed of four elements, we'll say: earth, air, fire, and water. The quintessence, or rather the fifth element, was considered to be the spirit or the life force within the plant. And it's only derived through distillation and extraction, and that is where those were the processes that were thought to be the best in removing the spirit from the plant source. The International Organization for Standardization, or most commonly referred to as ISO, defines an essential oil as a product made by distillation with either water or steam, or by mechanical processing of citrus rinds, or by dry distillation of natural materials. I have these two visuals to show you the most common ways that essential oils are made. On my right, or I should say on the left, is the distillation process, and you'll see they have the plants in the container. We have heat going below it, and as the vapors rise, it's the steams essentially from the essential oil. It goes into another reservoir where there's hot water and cold water compressing it, where they're then separated into two different elements, and at the end, the essential oil is thus purified and filtered out. This is another common process, and this is most commonly used with citrus oils. You have tangerine, clementine, kumquat, green mandarin, the list goes on and on. But because those have a peel, this is the best way to, I guess you could say, cold press those oils from the source. And you'll see it gets ground up and then ground again, for lack of a better word, and that through this reservoir it's separated, and then you have your crude oil. And so now I'm going to go over what the use of essential oils. So the use of essential oils obviously is called aromatherapy. What many people don't realize though is within aromatherapy there are three different methods to use these oils. One is aromatically, as in this diffuser. We can also take them internally now. I'll discuss later how to safely take those internally. And then the most common is to apply them topically, as you can see here. It's interesting, depending on which method you decide to use, determines how fast the oil is activated into your body. When you use it, when you diffuse it, the molecules reach the brain within 22 seconds. When you ingest it, it's literally every cell in your body is affected within 20 minutes. And when you decide to apply it topically, or I should say within 2 minutes, it is found in your bloodstream. So needless to say, these are very effective when using the proper ones. To show you how to diffuse it, I'm going to demonstrate. We have distilled water. You fill it up. They have a guideline in here. You fill up with water. You always want to do a 1-to-10 ratio. 1 part oil to 10 parts dilution, whether it's water or a carrier oil such as almond oil, jojoba oil, or my favorite is fractionated coconut oil. So since we have about a good 10 parts in here, or maybe even, I'm going to go ahead and do 10 drops. That's going to be the safest dilution, give or take. And so with this is going to be what we call a diffuser. You place it on, as so, and turn it on. And like I said, within minutes, you are going to be able to inhale this and it'll affect the brain cells. When we want to apply it topically, you're really going to want to get to the different nerve endings. So anywhere on the wrists, behind the ears, behind the neck. And the best place to apply these is at the bottom of the feet. That's where we have the most nerve endings, and then that way it could just penetrate into the bloodstream faster. Moving on to ingesting these. These are called veggie capsules. And what it is, it's a clear capsule And it lists the ingredients on here. I won't list them because for time constraint. But what you do, right now I have grapefruit. So as we discussed, grapefruit was derived from the cold press process. It says on here the different information for each bottle. And that's going back to when we talked about the safe way to ingest it. You always want to make sure if you are ingesting an oil that it says CPTG, and that's Certified Pure Therapeutic Grade. Those are not ones that you will find every day in Sprouts, unfortunately, or at Vons. These are exclusive because the process is so intricate. Oils are not FDA regulated, so they can pretty much put whatever they want on these bottles. That's where doTERRA comes in, and they actually designated their own third party to regulate the purity and set purity standards really for the nation, because everyone unfortunately is falling short because they want to mass produce, and what we end up getting is synthetic product. Anyways, moving on though, it will tell you the different we'll say the supplement facts, and that's how you know you can ingest them internally. So I use the 24-hour method. 24 hours in a day means 24-hour drops you can have. That's internally. So you just pour them in the capsule, and it's just like swallowing any over-the-counter medicine. Now that we have covered how to use essential oil safely, I want to finish, there they are. So, I threw myself off, guys. So now that we have covered how to use essential oil safely, I want to finish with why doTERRA essential oils are among the leading brands in the industry. I have this visual, and as we discussed, this is a pie graph, and this is basically the current market today of essential oils. As you can see, this large area in gray comprises all of the synthetic oils, and what it is, doTERRA, among other companies, they do what is outsourcing their crops. They grow their crops indigenous to where these plants will grow the best. So that means there's plants in Australia, there's plants in the Netherlands, there's plants nationwide. And what that's really doing is allowing us to cultivate the best product and produce it here. What other brands, I guess you can say, are doing, they are man-making them. They are using synthetic additives that we had discussed, and they're putting them in these bottles and rendering them useless. And I think that's what's created so much skepticism in the aromatherapy industry, because they're not seeing results. They're saying these don't work, and there's a reason these don't work. It's because they're synthetic. You see this small fraction here is actual CPTG, Certified Pure Therapeutic Grade. It is a very small portion, and we're trying to change that. What you'll see here are some of the oils that are offered. These are different blends that have been made. And again though, on each of these products, the way that the purity is guaranteed, I'm actually going to pass these around so you can see them. There is what is called a QR code on each of these. And what's different about these bottles is that you can go onto the website, scan these barcodes, and it's going to tell you where it was harvested, how long the crop was there, when it was shipped, how it was processed, everything you'd want to know about what you're putting into your body. That way, I mean, essentially you know what you're putting into your body. I'm curious because although we don't all use aromatherapy, I think we can all benefit from it. By show of hand, you don't need to answer these questions, but just think about it in your head. Who here has ever struggled with anxiety? Who here has ever struggled with overeating or undereating? Who has struggled with stress? I can go on and on about different symptoms. I guarantee at one point or another we have experienced these in our life. I personally struggle with anxiety. I struggle severely, and that's why I sympathize with some of us here. It's scary. Doctors are so quick to prescribe these medicines that are not effective. They tackle the surface problems. What's so great about aromatherapy is it is able to penetrate into the cell. That is unheard of with all these over-the-counter medicines, because our bodies are so intelligent. When we have a virus, for instance, or when we're feeling certain symptoms, these medicines are not able to penetrate the cell at the source of these ailments. Because these are 100% natural, our body identifies them and allows them in. So these essentially are fixing our problems at the source. They're not just they're not just relieving symptoms at the surface level. And I think that's why it's so important to consider implementing these into our everyday lives. I mean, Big Pharma is at an all-time high with how much they're making off of us. I won't go into that. That's another subject entirely. But it's just something to think about. A natural way, natural sources that we've always had available to us that we get to use and make ourselves. I can't tell you I can go on and on about the different ways I've implemented these into my daily life, and the outcomes have been amazing. My husband, for instance, he is a recovering alcoholic. They have an oil for that. I just love knowing no matter what my problem is, there's an oil for that. They're not going to ever be able to prescribe a medicine that will cover everything. And this is by no means to treat any disease or cure any type of disorder. But what it does, rather, it enables our body to achieve optimum health so that we can heal ourselves naturally how it was intended to be. So today, again, I really wanted to leave you guys with a new perspective on the whole world of aromatherapy. We were able to discuss what an essential oil is, how it's used, what it does for the body, and really different ways to implement them into our everyday life. I thank you so much for your time.